one of shonen anime's most well-known and possibly, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, well-loved tropes has something to teach you and quite frankly me about bodybuilding. You want to know what it is? The time skip. You need a time skip. And like I kind of mentioned, so do I, frankly, if we're just gonna be honest here. Now, the time skip, just to be quick about what it is, if you didn't know, it's when a character encounters some sort of enemy, obstacle, problem that they can't conquer with their current level of strength capabilities. So they go on a journey, adventure, or find some sort of master or teacher to take them to the next level, but it's going to take some time. So often there is a period of months, if not maybe even years, where the character kind of goes off and trains, usually on their own with that master, and finds a way to bridge the gap between where they are and where they need to be in order to properly tackle that which is coming, what they know they have to deal with as the hero or main protagonist of the story. And it is an extremely important lesson for bodybuilders too. Why do I say this? Well, and quite frankly, before I even get started, this isn't just for bodybuilders. This is something that can apply to bodybuilders and just your general workout people who are just looking to improve their physique. For you guys out there looking for just fat loss, this is important for you too. Y'all also need a time skip. So sit down, listen up. It's about to go down. I'm gonna put class in session. We're gonna get this popping. We're gonna make it happen today. So why this is important is because when it comes down to progress within the natural realm of this sort of thing, the enhanced side is a very different ball game. There's a lot of other things you can do. We won't talk about that. Within the natural side of things, you can't be in a deficit forever. If you're in a caloric deficit for an extended period of time, you're compromising your ability to build muscle mass. That's just what that is. In fact, there's a decent possibility you're also just losing muscle mass. A caloric deficit does have great catabolic properties to help with the loss of fat, and that's a good thing. It'll help you get towards your goal of being leaner, trimmer, you know, if that was your goal in the first place, you know, that's the way you want to go. But it can't be a permanent state. You can't be in a cut for months and months and months and years on end. Eventually, it has to come to an end. Now, if you're a bodybuilder, this is important because, you know, you step on stage and you go to compete and maybe you place in a position that you didn't quite hope that you would. You want it to be better. You want it to be in a better place. And the judges say when you get their feedback, oh, well, you know, you had a great physique, you were quite lean, your conditioning was good, but, you know, we'd like to see more density, thickness, size in your shoulders, chest, arms, quads, hamstrings, what have you. Back, that's a big one. Back is a very often mentioned one, if I'm not mistaken. Again, go to war in the comments if you want. I'd like to hear what people think about that. But in order for you to do that, you need to build muscle. Now, building muscle in a deficit is unwise, suboptimal, and in a lot of cases just impossible. So it's not a good idea to do that. Now, if you were to say compete again the next year or very soon after your first show, maybe you're planning on another show pretty soon down the line, where that becomes an unwise / suboptimal decision is that you won't have very much time in order to get to a point where you're optimally building muscle mass to cover for those areas where you were lacking in the show, where you didn't place well. You need to spend a significant amount of time in a surplus building muscle. One, because after a bodybuilding show for a natural athlete, your test is in the garbage. And so your ability to build muscle mass is already compromised. Two, you just need time spent in a surplus to really put on muscle mass. It takes time. It's not a fast process for a natural bodybuilder. For a natural athlete and a natural lifter, you're not looking at a very fast-paced journey. Bodybuilding is a marathon, not a sprint. You got to be in it for the long haul. You got to be ready to put in time for a long time. You got to put in work for a long time. So it's often advisable to take an off season, a growth season that lasts through the next competitive season, because if you were to say compete in the next season, there's a decent chance you're probably going to get squashed again, because you're going to go into your growth season, your body's going to start recovering its ability to create testosterone optimally again. That could take anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. That's already 6 to 8 weeks of your growth season gone, at least in terms of optimal growth. And then you have your growth season that starts, and then before you know it, you're going to be back in prep season, cutting in a deficit again, which is going to be suboptimal for muscle building. You can see how that's a problem. So you're definitely going to want to find yourself in a time skip sooner rather than later if your goal is put on muscle mass in order to compete with people on a much more competitive level and really place well and cover for the things that the judges are telling you you need to improve on. Now, let's talk to all the Gen Pop people who are just looking to lose some fat, you know, get trim, get lean, so on and so forth. Maybe they're on a long-term fitness journey in order to improve their look because they've been trying to lose, you know, 60 pounds and, you know, they feel like they can get back to what they look like at such and such a time. Doesn't matter. You have a considerable fat loss journey on your hands, and your methodology that you're currently exploring is persistent and consistent deficit. Here's where the off-season / time skip concept comes into play for you. If you don't have a period where you take your foot off the gas when it comes to being in a deficit, you're probably going to stall out. The reason being that your body is going to a significant extent, adapt to what you are doing to it. You're going to eventually get to a point where you can't really reduce your calories anymore in order to continue to see progress, because you've gotten to a point where your body's reached a homeostasis, an equilibrium. The amount of muscle mass you have is enough to cover the balance for the amount of food you're eating, and your body's reduced all non-exercise activity, thermogenesis, and other metabolic processes right down to the point where everything's kind of like even keel. So you can't go anywhere. You need to take your foot off the gas, replenish glycogen, you know, you'll gain some water weight, and that's a good thing. Your muscles need water to function, and build muscle. Muscle's the engine that burns fat. It's also the thing that will shape and round out those various limbs that you want to see get trimmer and leaner. They'll look so much better with a little bit of muscle. I'm not saying you got to be Hulk-like or She-Hulk-like, huge and bubbly and crazy. You just got to have a little bit of muscle there to help fill things out. Because here's the thing, I've talked to a lot of people who have lost a lot of weight, and loose skin is not a fun thing to have. If you can fill a lot of that with muscle, it would be a lot more to your advantage, not only from an aesthetic perspective, but also from just a general purpose perspective. You'll be able to burn more calories at rest without having to do any extra work. Win-win, right? So the time skip, beneficial for all of us. Now, I actually recorded this whole thing, this idea, once a couple weeks ago. To be honest with you, the reason the video never went up is because I just haven't had the time to edit it. The summer has not been kind in terms of time. Hopefully I can get this up in good time. Please, universe, give me the chance to get this edit done in a reasonable amount of time. But I also recorded it with me as the frontline perspective. I was talking about how I've been through my bodybuilding journey and how I had seen improvements over 1 year to the next. By the way, you know, I am about 3 or 4 weeks off of out from my show now at this point in time. I'm happy with the physique I brought to the stage, but it was what brought me to the conclusion that I needed a time skip. I needed time to grow. And so I'm going to take time off through 2025. And instead of competing next year, I'm just going to keep growing. And I'm going to grow until I reach 2026. And then I'm going to start another journey towards the stage again. I'll talk about that in the future if you guys are interested. But until then, I'm going to keep that to the sidelines. The reason why is because this is about you guys, not really about me. But what I will say is that I have experienced what it's like when you put in the time and step away from things in order to truly give attention to the goals that you find that are important. And the difference it makes is tremendous. Don't underestimate it. That's all I gotta say for today. Hope you guys got a lot out of that. It's good to be back. Hopefully it's in a timely manner. And I'll see you guys next time. Let's wrap it up and finish the set. Rack it.